In this video, we're going to go through a step-by-step guide on how you can sell your car privately and achieve the most amount of money for it. Number one, pictures. Make sure that your pictures are good. Here is an example of a great picture, and here is an example of a bad picture. Make sure you don't take your pictures on the side of the road or in some random supermarket. Make sure the lighting's good and you have enough pictures and you have good angles. In fact, pictures are so important for our business. We've invested in a full-time photographer called Max, and here he is now going to give you some tips and tricks on how to take some great pictures.
Okay, so I'll be showing you a few tips and tricks on how to get the best photos for your car listing. So, first of all, you want to put it in a nice location, no distractions. Just pick a day and time where it's not going to be dark or wet or rainy. You want to make sure the car's looking clean, looking its best. Now, there are no distractions around the car, so the main focus will actually be entirely on the car. So for this demonstration, I'm not going to be using any fancy camera. I'm literally just going to be using my phone to show you guys how much you can get out of such a small thing. Okay, so my first tip about taking the actual photo is zooming in a bit. So you want as little dead space around the car as possible, so you can get photos like that. As you can see, that looks a bit silly. You want to go around the car, just get as many pictures as possible really. So wheels, side mirrors, details, badges, going inside at any optional extras like speaker systems, electric seats, cruise control. This would be nice to take photos of. All the seats, the condition of the seats, mileage, service history, just all the little details like that, as any buyer is going to appreciate honesty over you trying to hide things.
Point number two is a good, honest, transparent description. Now, this is very underrated. However, it's important to get this right. So in your description, you want to be specific about the car and not the brand. So for example, nobody wants to read about how much horsepower the car has, but they want to know specific things about the car. So for example, you need to talk about the service history, any mechanical issues, any MOT advisories, when's the MOT due, what's the condition like of the bodywork, the tyres, etc. So that's what you need to include in the description and not information about the car in general. So some other things are the number of owners. That's quite important to put in it. So you don't need to write War and Peace, but it needs to be honest, it needs to be transparent, and it needs to be a genuine description of the car. So point number two is write a good description. Point three of selling your car successfully is where do you advertise? So there's a number of advertising platforms, including Facebook, eBay, PistonHeads, Auto Trader, Car and Classic, and getting the most amount for your car is where you advertise. So let's start with Facebook. The benefit with Facebook is it's free. However, the negative is that there may be a lot of time wasters on there and a lot of people messaging you and not being serious. So let's actually ask Kane what he thinks of some of these advertising platforms. Kane, good evening, good afternoon. You're right.
Hello.
Hello. So what do you think of Facebook?
What, marketplace?
Yeah, to sell a car. To get the most amount of money.
I would avoid marketplace personally. You get a lot of time wasters and a lot of dreamers who will just come out, ask if it's available, and you'll never hear from them again. Or you'll get offered something silly like a motorhome, like I got offered last night on our AC Schnitzer. So, yeah, marketplace definitely not. No, not for me.
Auto Trader.
Auto Trader is a very good platform. However, it's very hard to go up against if you're trying to sell it privately against a dealer. And then again, you're going to get a lot of traders knocking on the door, giving you bits and pieces. So yeah, Auto Trader is probably your best form.
eBay.
If I'm honest, I'd never look at a car on eBay unless I was going to go buy spares and repairs one to do an engine conversion. So
where have you sold your cars?
believe it or not, I sold it on Marketplace. But I had loads of time wasted. I had a guy from Dubai offer me $22,000, whatever it's called out there, shipped. And I was like, no. It took 2 months to sell. But yeah, Marketplace overall's dead.
So you heard Kane's opinion. My personal opinion is spend that little bit of money, put your car on Auto Trader. That's where you're going to get the most eyeballs. Facebook is good, and you should put it on Facebook anyway because it's free. But just be warned, you have to sift through all the time wasters. So my advice, put it on Auto Trader, pay for the ad, put it on Facebook. Depending on what your car is, if it's a classic car, put it on Cars and Classics. So use a bit of common sense. eBay, I wouldn't really bother with. Piston heads, I really wouldn't bother with. Same with Car Gurus and Motors. The two best ones, Auto Trader and Facebook Marketplace. So the next point in how to get the most money for your car selling privately is do a vehicle inspection. So not many people do this, but this is quite important because once you do a vehicle inspection, you're showing the potential buyer, you're not hiding any issues. You've done a third-party inspection and you're being completely honest and you're being completely transparent. If there's any issues, you can rectify them, or you can just leave them on the report for the buyer to make the assessment. It just makes the car a lot easier to do. So a vehicle inspection, it can range anywhere from £60 to £200, depending on how deep you go. But let's speak to our technician, Toby, now, and he will just go over some of the bits that he checks on our cars. So Toby, what are some of the bits that you check on our cars?
Some of the bits, so starting off, we check the tyres, make sure they're all good, above the legal limit, no cracks or anything. Brakes, all the buttons inside, make sure that they work, they're not sticky or they've not, like, the pictures on them haven't disappeared. Engine oil, which is the main one, everyone should be checking their engine oil, making sure it's topped up, making sure it looks all right, it's not really black, it doesn't smell, and coolant as well, making sure that's topped up and it's the correct coolant in there as well.
Cool, thank you. So yeah, a vehicle inspection is good. It just creates that extra layer of honesty and transparency with the buyer, and you can get a bit more money. Yes, it does cost a bit of money to do a vehicle inspection, but you can add a bit of money onto the price because at least you and the buyer knows exactly where you stand with the vehicle health of the car. So that's our fourth point, vehicle inspection. The final point in selling your car successfully is price. Now, a good friend of mine once said, be proud of your price. However, you can only be proud of your price if you're proud of your car. So if your car's not in great condition, then you need to price it accordingly to the market. So the easiest way, go on to Auto Trader, find your make, model, type in your mileage, 10,000 up and 10,000 down. Find a spec that's similar to yours. So for example, if yours has pan roof, for example. Now, once you find that car, that's roughly what your car's worth. However, that's what dealers are selling it for. So if a dealer is selling your car for £20,000, you can't get £20,000 for your car. Really, you need to be pricing it between 5 to 10% less. So if a dealer's selling your car for £20,000, really you need to be pricing it for between £18,000 and £18,500 and then be willing to take an offer. Why can't you get more money compared to a dealer? Well, that's a separate video, but a dealer can offer warranty, they can offer finance, they can offer ceramic coating facilities, they provide a guarantee and a warranty that the car's all good. Like us, for example, we do inspections, so we send videos to the customer saying that the car's all good. So really, as a private sale, you want to be around 5 to 10% less. But if someone does offer, let's say £17,500 and your equivalent car's up for £20,000, that's not too bad. So make sure your car is priced competitively to other private sellers. You can't compete against the dealers. So that's my final point. The main reason your car's not selling is because the price is too high. You can't price it too high because you're not going to get the calls. And alternatively, you can't price it too low because then not many people are going to call you because they think something is wrong with the car. So price it well and be willing to take an offer. So in summary, there's a lot you can do when you sell your car privately to get the most money for it. What we've just gone over isn't an exhaustive list. There's a lot more you can do, but it's a good start. There's so much more to it. So the next stage is, what do you do when the buyer comes to your house? How do you sell the car? How do you take the money? How do you accept the money? Where do you show the car? Do you go for test drives? There's a lot more to this, but if you're interested, put a comment below. We can go over that in the next video. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us, and we'll see you on the next one.